Welcome to a quick lesson on compass bearings. Uh, this is a topic which confuses many students. It's actually fairly straightforward, so let's get started. So over here you see the compass. You see a compass: north, east, south, and west. Now the idea is, if you ever want to give directions, this is one way in which you can give directions. How does it work? Well, let's say, for example, I want to say, see this dot on the screen right there, that dot there, that green dot right here. Let's say I want to give directions for that from this ship. So what you do is you put a dot at the ship, and then you give directions from that ship. And the first thing you will write is that green dot north or south of the ship? Well, it's clearly to the north side. It's upwards, north side, right? So we will write down north. Next thing we say is, well, we know it's north. Is it towards the east side or the west side? And clearly this is towards the west. Okay, and basically that's more or less the direction, right? Something like that. So we would write west. It's north and it's towards the west. To be more specific, you would say how far west of north it is. So the angle you're really looking for is this angle. We know it's north, we know it's to the west. How far west is it? And that's what you will write, this angle right here in between. And let's say that's 50 degrees. So we will write north and 50 degrees towards the west, and that would be my compass bearing. So let's have, so that's the general idea. Let's do another example. Let's say if something was, and I'll turn the hint off, and let's say, for example, this is the direction we're after. That direction, yeah, okay? Something is towards that direction. How would we write that in compass bearings? Well, is it north or south? It's south. And then is it towards the east or towards the west? And clearly it's towards the east, because this arrow is more towards the east. See, this is east. This arrow is towards the whole thing over here is east. And then over here it's all west. But because we're after something like that, it's going to be south, east. Obviously it's not perfectly southeast, because southeast implies perfectly southeast, right? Which means 45 degrees there, 45 degrees there. It's right in the middle. When it's not right in the middle, it is still southeast, but there's an angle, and the angle we're after is how far east is it from the south line. So that angle here, see that orange bit, this orange bit, this is the angle we will always write. And let's say that's what, 20 degrees, and we would write 20 degrees east. And so this is how it works. You write, see, just focus on that first letter for the time being. See, anytime you are towards the south, you will always write S at the start. Always write S. Okay? And when you're towards the north side, your top half, you always write like this, north. You'll write N first. Right? And now focus on this, the last letter. Now if you're on the left half, it'll always be W, west. And if you're on the right half, it'll always be E, east. And then, as for the number, you always measure either from north or from south. Okay, so notice that it'll be perfectly south. As soon as I start measuring, as soon as I'm moving it towards the east side, notice the angle that I'm going to write down. This is the angle I measure and write down, 70 degrees. And it's going to increase, 80 degrees, decreasing. And even when you go this side, you're still measuring from the south side. And like so. And northwards is very similar. You measure from the north line. The angle in orange, that's what you write down in the middle over here. The angle over here in the middle is that angle over there, from the north line or from the south line. So let's have a look at a type of a question, right? On what compass bearing will you head to get From the windmill to Dead King's Head. From the windmill. From the windmill. Where is the windmill? Windmill. Here it is. This is the windmill. To get from the windmill to Dead King's Head. Dead King's Head is over here. Okay, so the most important thing to understand over here is the word from. That from the windmill means that we're going to draw our arrow around the windmill like that. Like so. From the windmill. Then we are going to point towards where we're trying to get to. Dead King's Head, right? Dead King's Head. So that's what we want. Now, how do I give directions? Well, Dead King's Head is at north or south of windmill. And it's clearly towards the north side. And it's towards the west. It's to the left. It's west. Right, now over here, I'm going to write down the angle that it makes from the north to that line. That's the angle I am after. And so I'm going to write, let's have a guess. North, west, and we will guess, I don't know, what, 70? Let's guess 70. Why not? 70. We'll check our answer, and we're off by 1 degree. So it's north, 69 degrees west. Great estimate. You know, obviously in an actual exam, you won't be estimating, I guess. There'll be more specific questions. But the idea is we got it right. That's the point, right? Let's try another one. And it says, what is true bearing? Hang on, we don't want a true bearing one. We are compass bearing. What compass bearing will you get from the holy ruins? From the holy ruins. So we find holy ruins. Where's the holy ruins? Here they are. I put my, because it says from the holy ruins, draw my arrow. Like in an actual exam, if you're trying to measure these two, and it's from, let's say you're trying to measure, you're trying to give compass bearings for that, and it says from A, you will draw something like that. Okay, obviously you don't have to get a fancy compass. That's perfectly fine. That's north, right? But anyway, coming back to the question, it says from the holy ruins to Ruby's mine. So to Ruby's mine there. Now, from there, are we towards the south or the north? And clearly, we are towards the south. So the compass bearing will be south. And then we have to measure this angle. Once again, let's go 68 degrees this time. So it's towards the south, towards the west. Let's say 68 degrees. Check answer. 66 degrees. A great estimate. We got it right, more or less. So hopefully you've understood how it works. Let's do some example questions. And so here we have, write the compass bearing for each direction given. And so we look at this red arrow, and first of all we write, is it north or south? It's clearly south. Is it east or west? It's west. How far west is it from south? Okay, and I know this is 90 degrees, and so this is the arrow, the whole thing is 90, and that's 33. And so this bit is going to be 90 minus 33. So 90 minus 30 is 60, minus 3 is 57. So it'll be 57 degrees west. Because this is 57 degrees. Over here, is it north or south? It's clearly north. East or west? It's east. How far? If the whole thing is 90, and that's 20, this must be 70. And 70 degrees. North or south? It's north. East or west? It's west. How far west? 90 minus 35. 90 minus 30, 60 minus 55 degrees. And we can continue in a similar vein. Over here, is it north or south? It's clearly south. East or west? It's east. How far east? 59 degrees. North, the red arrow is the north or south? It's north. East or west? It's west. How far west? 78 degrees. Okay, this is an interesting one. See, it says 98 degrees. Now, I know if it was 90 degrees, it would be east. It says 98, so that red arrow is actually towards the south. And it's east. How far? Well, this is going to be 8 degrees because that is 90 degrees. We can ignore this now. 90 and 8. And if that's 8, then this bit, how far east is it from south? Well, it's going to be 82 degrees. 90 minus 8 is 82 degrees. And then we move on to something like J. Is it north or south? It's clearly south. East or west? It's towards the west. How far west is it? Well, that's south. I know this is going to be at 180 degrees because a straight line is 180 degrees. So this must be 240 minus 180. And that will be 60 degrees. You can use a calculator if you're not sure. But 240, 18, 24, 6. The difference is 6, in other words, 60. So 60 degrees here. Okay, north or south, it's towards the north. West, if that's 283, I know the whole thing will be 360. If you go all the way around, it's 360. So if I do 360 minus 283, I will get the angle that I need. And so we can use a calculator for this. 360 minus 283 gives me 77, which is 77, and therefore that is 77 degrees. And finally, they've given me a weird angle. That's okay. Is it north or south? It's towards the south, and it's towards the east. How far east is it from south? Well, I can draw this. I know that's 180, and therefore this must be 250 minus 180. 250 minus 180 is 70 degrees. The south, and then 70 degrees towards the east. Sketch each of these bearings on a separate diagram. So just in case you can't see it, I'll make it a bit bigger. Sketch each of these bearings on a separate diagram. Okay, let's do A. North. So I'll do it in red. So I'll do something similar to what they've done over on top. It's towards the north, cool, and it's towards the east. So I know it's going to be something like this, something like that, right? What line is it, right? It's 10 degrees towards the east. So something like this, probably. Okay, so that's going to be 10 degrees. That's obviously north. That's obviously east. I move on to, I'll just do two of these. Next one is south, 25 degrees west. So I'll just do B. Now it's towards the south. Sorry about that, just an alarm. So it's towards the south, and it's 25 degrees towards the west. So I know it's going to be something like this. And it's going to be 25 degrees there. So I know it's south, and that's west. It's south and westwards. How far west? 25 degrees from south. And there you have it. Let's have a look at a worded problem. Now we're going to ignore this because that's true bearings. We're not concerned about true bearings. We're just doing compass bearings in this video. So Mia cycled 15 kilometers west and then 25 kilometers south. Okay, so Mia, let's say, started here. And I'll label that S for start. And 15 kilometers west, so it went west that much. 15 kilometers. And then went 25 kilometers south. So it went directly south for, let's say, 24 kilometers. And Mia is now here. Okay, what is the value of theta to the nearest degree? And I forgot to include a diagram that was given with the question. I thought we wouldn't need it. But that's okay. It's here now. What is the value of theta? We can see that that's theta there. And that's really what we need to find out. That is theta. What is the value of theta? So now this is going to involve a bit of SOHCAHTOA. With reference to this angle here, that is opposite. So I'm going to write O there. And because it's 90 degrees, this would be hypotenuse. That's adjacent. And so to find angle theta, we need to set up a SOHCAHTOA relationship. Opposite, adjacent, TOA. So tan of theta, tan of the angle, is equal to opposite, which is 24, over the adjacent, which is 15. And therefore, theta is equal to, we'll take the inverse tan of both sides, 24 over 15. And we can use our calculator for this. So it's going to be shift tan of 24 over 15 And we have our answer of, to the nearest degree, it says, that's clearly 58 degrees to the nearest degree, which is 58 degrees to nearest degree. Sorry about that, to nearest degree. To the nearest degree. And says, what is Mia's compass bearing from her starting point? From her starting point, okay? So, as I have said previously, the most important question and the most important word in the whole sentence is from. From her starting point. So we go to the starting point and you draw a compass rose type of thing. You draw that. I know that's going to be north. So what is her compass bearing now? So she's over here now. Mia is over there now. I'm assuming Mia is a female. And regardless, what is the compass bearing? So this is what we want. Now it's clearly to the south. It's not north. It's south of the original location. So it's going to be south, and it's going to be west. It's not east. It's towards the west. Remember, this is west, and it's clearly the arrow. This arrow here is going towards the west. So I write west here, and then how many degrees is it? Well, if that's 58, if this is 58. And it's just going to do 90. Remember, we want how far west from south. How far west from south. So it's going to be 90 minus 58. Or if you want to be more exact, we have that in the calculator. We do 90 minus the answer. And we have 32 degrees around. 32 degrees. So I'll just write to the nearest degree. 32 degrees. I hope that helps. Best of luck with the homework.